So how easy is the installation? Like, is it, you mentioned the HDMI, so it's pretty much we got to have power to the camera, and HDMI that plugs into any MFD. Is any of this communicated on the NEMA 2000 network, or is this just strictly, is there controllers involved, or is it strictly a camera, power to the camera, HDMI to your MFD?
Right. So it's strictly just camera. And I'm talking about just us here. It's strictly just the camera and just power and video cable. We didn't want to add a bunch of different boxes, just simple installation. So for Aaron, I don't know, 10 minutes for you. You install. For an average guy, I would say it depends on a boat. So if you got the hardest part is running the cable in the T-top. So you have to run the
Hmm.
cable and the tubing if you have a center console, right? Or if you have different kind of boat, let's say a cruiser or something, just routing that cable is the hardest part, because if you have pull strings already in place, then it's easy. You just tie the string and pull the cable, and then you're done. But you know how hard it is to fish the wire to some of these tight spots, and
Hmm.
especially when there's turns and bends and things like that. So that's the hardest part, but everything else is pretty easy. You have power and ground that you can grab from anywhere in your boat, a fuse box, a switch, uh, navigation lights, things like that. You can grab power from, and then the video cable just goes to the MFD directly or the screen. That's the other thing. We also have an external screen that we sell, because not everyone can afford a high end multifunction display unit. Because you know how much they cost. I mean, a Garmin with an HDMI input is going to cost you like $2,500 to like
Mm.
$3,500. That's entry level. We're talking, not even the good stuff. So we have a lot of customers that they don't want to spend $6,000-7,000 just in chart plotters on their boat. So for those people, we have an external display that we sell for $200. And that's a lot cheaper, and it's marine grade. It's not a bad display. It's actually very well built. It's fully waterproof, marine grade, and so they can just run the HDMI cable to that screen and install that screen either on their electronics box or on their dash, or just like where the chart plotters go if they have extra room there. So
Mhm.
there's but long story short, it's just two power and ground cable and video cable. So that's fairly simple, other than running the cable itself.
Speaking on that pricing aspect, what is normal pricing? Like, is there, the 14 grand, obviously that's out of most of our budgets. Like for the people that have like, let's say 24 to, 36, like those kinds of boats, how many cameras would you really recommend someone gets? And then what is someone going to end up spending to install it? Like just buying the material. Obviously, if to install it, it's going to be, that can change depending on the boat. Like if you got to tear half the boat apart to run one cable, then obviously you got to pay for the time for someone to tear all that up and run the cable. But outside that, if you're just buying the product, what would you say is gonna be the average range for, I guess you could probably put it into like, your normal range and then like maybe like an upgraded, like, this one does 1080, but this one does 4K for this much. What's someone looking at that price range?
So the most like average cameras that are full color are gonna cost you like 1,200 to 3,500 bucks.
Mm.
And there's only like 2-3 brands who really make these full color cameras, full color night vision cameras, I should say. Uh, and it starts at the low end at $1,200, $1,280, which is what our entry level camera is. It's very simple. It has an RCA output. It's full color. And you plug it into your chop loader, power and ground, and you're good to go. It's great for smaller boats, mid-sized boats, even larger boats. There's nothing wrong with using these cameras on a bigger yacht. In fact, we made this for entry level boaters, but it turns out we have more customers. They have big sport fishing boat, so that's the pricing. But then you go once you pass that 3,500 bucks, then you get into like the thermal camera territory where the FLIR starts, and that's when the commercial guys, the big sport fishing guys, kind of come in, and that's what they use, and that's
Mm.
entry level thermal. If you want the good thermal, which has both full color and thermal, then you're looking at that $14,000 price tag. Or
Mhm.
if you have a super yacht or a big yacht, then it can go $100,000 or more. And then there's few more companies in that space that sell cameras from like 6,000 to like $22,000, and it's sort of they have all the cool features of AI and all the things you can do with it, for especially for a larger size boat. But for a 17 footer to like your 36, 40 footer boats, recreational guys, I mean, the full color cameras are like perfect in what they do, like night fishing, sandbars, restaurant, that kind of stuff. And they start from 1,200. Like our cameras are like 1,200 and $1,300. We're on the low end side of things, but there are other full color cameras from other companies that are like 2,000 to like 3,500 bucks. And as far as the resolution goes, the 1280 dollar camera is it's analog video, so it's a little bit of lower resolution. But then if you spend $100 more, you get a HDMI version, which is 1380, and that gets a 1080p HD. So as far as HD resolution goes, we are the only one at this price point in the market. There's nothing in the market that has 1080p resolution for night vision camera at that price. You're looking at $3,500 and more, like two or three times the cost of what we sell. So it's a little bit all over the place, but it just comes down to what your budget is and what size boat you have. But most people get away with just our entry level, full color night vision camera. And I always tell people, like, I can push you towards more expensive stuff, but if the lower cost stuff can do the same thing, why waste the money? Like, right. So that's just the way we kind of guide customers.
And that's per camera, right?
That's per camera, and the screen is $200. And like you say, installation can vary from person to person. A lot of people do it themselves. We get tons of customers that love working on their boat. That's their hobby, right? So they will watch a couple of videos. They will say, "Oh, it's just 2 screws and running 1 cable. I can do it in the afternoon," and they do it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not rocket science. It's if you can do basic things like oil changes on your engines, or like even drill a hole in the wall, you can probably install this camera. It's not very hard.
Hey there, sorry to take you away from the video, but real quick, did you know that on average a boat owner will spend between $1,000 and $5,000 a year just on servicing their engine? And you could actually pocket and save a lot of that money if you would just do the service yourself. It might seem like a daunting task, but I guarantee you virtually everyone can do it with our guidance and the Boaters program. This is just one skill that you could learn inside the program, because we have hundreds of other videos teaching you all kinds of boating skills, as well as a weekly live stream where we have questions and answers with me, as well as a chat feature where you can send videos and pictures, ask all kinds of questions, or look for some advice or some guidance on a project that you're doing on your boat. You can join the program by hitting the first link in the description, clicking join, or visiting bornagainboating.com. Now back to the video.